Yes, people, what's happening? What is happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another pre-match preview with your boy CJ from the Gunners Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another preview as we are back in Premier League action this weekend against Bournemouth in the early kickoff. Before we get going, I just want to remind you all to please like and subscribe to the video and to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. It really, really does help us out. Check us out on all our platforms. We are on Instagram, Spotify, TikTok is getting up there, but our bread and butter is right here, locked in on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, hype the video, and all that good stuff. Thanks for being here. We are dropping content thick and fast, quickly for y'all. Go check out episode 97 that just dropped on the channel. It was a really good recording last night with myself, Marant, and Murdad. Um, and yeah, we had a good one on there just discussing what's to come for the Arsenal and for our season. And as the run-in is heating up, in both competitions, the Premier League and the Champions League, we are in sort of, that business end, man. And yeah, it's exciting for us. It's exciting. It's where we want to be. We're in the primary competitions, being the Premier League and the Champions League. And this is exactly where we want to be at this time of the year. We've been, praying and asking for times like this for years now. And here we are moving like a big club, top of the league in the Premier League and in the quarterfinals of the Champions League in a commanding position to go to the semifinals. Now, that being said, let's get into our preview for tomorrow's match against Bournemouth. Um, and again, at the time of recording, it is Friday. So, those who are Eastern Standard Time, in North America, Canada specifically, certain parts of Canada. I'm in Toronto, so 7:30 a.m. kickoff for us over here. So, we will be there. We will be awake. We will be ready for this one. It's going to be a massive, massive match, and I'm looking forward to it. So, but listen, Arteta had his press conference, and obviously, crucially, the details that we all want to know and find out about is the team news. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not beat around the bush. Team news wise, the biggest thing that pops out to us this week is that Eberechi Eze is back in full training, and Mikel Arteta himself has confirmed that Eze is fit and available, which is fantastic, fantastic news for us, especially at a time where we seem like we're lacking creativity, especially at a time where it seems like Odegaard's fitness is, questionable. We obviously don't have Ethan Nwaneri, we don't have Mikel Merino, so the attacking midfield options are limited, the creativity options are limited. But with the boy Ebbs with Eze back in the mix, that is a fantastic option for us. So we're thankful at this moment that he's returned sooner than later. That's very ideal for us. So we're gonna need him. Um, with regards to some other team news, Mikel Arteta was asked about Bukayo Saka specifically, Calafiori, Odegaard, and Jurrien Timber. To which he answered that there were some changes, essentially. I'm paraphrasing, but there were some changes, there were some updates. And he pretty much hinted that, the likes of those four, some of them, one of them, four of them, all of them, none of them, he did hint that there were changes. So, will one of those, or like I said, one, two, three, or four be available? We don't know yet. In typical Arteta fashion, he didn't really give anything away there, and he didn't confirm that either any four of those will or will not be available. But he did mention that there were some changes from yesterday's training session, for example. So. That could indicate that, like I said, one or more of them could be available. It could indicate that none of them are available, man. We don't know with Arteta, so let's just see. At that, we're gonna have to wait till the team news comes out officially to find out if any of those four are available. The only one that he was definitive on was Eze when he confirmed that Eze is back fit. Now, aside from those four that I had just mentioned, the four being Timber, Calafiori, Saka, and Odegaard, he was asked about Hincapié. And he said that, again, he mentioned that there were some changes essentially in terms of returning players and fitness and whatnot. Like he didn't definitively say that Hincapié was back at the time of being asked. However, we have since seen videos and photos, I should say, come out on social media, specifically Instagram, of Hincapié back in training, which is again another massive boost to us. So we do now know at this time post-interview that Hincapié looks like he's back in training. Does that mean he's fit enough to start? We will see, but that's again such a massive boost for us that we see the likes of Hincapié back in training. You know, that's our Ecuadorian beast, our warrior at left back, especially when Calafiore's fitness at this time is questioned and there's concerns around that. You know, the fact that we see Hincapié in training, I'm just assuming and hoping that means he's fit and available. Calafiore, you know, we don't, I personally don't think that he's actually injured. Calafiore, I think that they're just managing his load and his minutes at the moment because, again, this is a guy who has been injury prone and is injury prone, to be frank. You know, played heavy minutes for Italy over the international break and has come back since and has played, you know, he came off the bench in South against the game against Southampton and he played a full 90 midweek against Sporting in the first leg of the Champions League. So Calafiore, I think they're probably just managing his minutes. He should be available. I hope he is. Um, but nonetheless, Hincapié back in the mix, at least in training, is a massive boost for us, and that's a great sign. So there are some key returning players, it looks like, that are going to be in the match day squad for tomorrow, which is exactly what we need. And again, we'll see if the likes of you know, the others that were previously mentioned will be around as well. Um, so without further ado, as I always say, let's get into the predicted 11. That's what we're here for, right? So based on that team news, let's go and predict a team that we think can go out and get the job done tomorrow against Bournemouth. In goal, simple as this, David Raya. Need I say more? Let's move on. Center backs, Saliba and Gabriel, they were both spotted in the training photos, which is good. I know they've both been carrying niggles over the last few weeks. But you know, for the importance of this game, Saliba and Gabriel are going to start together at center back, ideally, hopefully. And so yeah, there's no real concerns there, no real questions about that, I assume. At right back, let me go at left back first, because left back is the one I think is a little bit easier for me to predict at this moment in time. I'm gonna gamble and predict that hmm, no, now I'm second guessing myself. I think I think Calafiore will start, to be honest with you. I was kind of thinking Hincapié is going to start now that we've seen him back in training, but um nah, I'm going no, I'm sticking with it. Hincapié I think will start. We've seen him in training. Not sure about Calafiore at the moment. Again, he wasn't training at least from what we saw in the photos, you know, after the Sporting game. We're not sure about him. Because of that's up in the air, I'm just gonna gamble and I'm gonna say Nkapie starts. I would be thinking otherwise if we didn't see him in training, but the fact that we've seen Nkapie in training, I'm gonna just gamble and say Nkapie is gonna start at left back. And to be honest, when everyone's fully fit at this moment in time, Nkapie is my starting left back, man. Just for the defensive security. He's been hot in form. Yes, he didn't have the greatest game in the Carabao Cup final, but who did? And so, yeah, Hincapié for me has still been a beast. He's been brilliant, and he would be my starting left back tomorrow. I am thinking that this is what Arteta's going to go with because I'm not sure about Calafiore. We're not sure about him. Again, I think he needs to be managed in terms of his minutes and his load because of the you know the nature of his injury concerns. So I'm going to say Hincapié is starting tomorrow at left back. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Um, at right back, this is a tough one too, man, because again, the importance of the game has me thinking that Timber, you know, apparently Timber was in contention a few weeks ago for the Carabao Cup final even, right? He was in contention, unless Arteta was lying about that as well. But apparently Timber was close then, opted not to play him. He's had, you know, 2 or 3 weeks extra rest with the international break and didn't play against Southampton, didn't play against Sporting. Maybe he's being saved for the must-win games like this one in particular. So listen, I think I'm going to gamble again, and I'm going to say, you know, again, White has looked shaky defensively recently. He's another player who's had injury concerns um, this season. He's went away with England over the international break and played both games, played against Southampton, played against Sporting. So something tells me Timber has been saved and been behind the scenes, not mentioned and not seen in any of the training photos. I think Timber is going to start tomorrow. I really, really do. We'll see. You know, I could be wrong about both of the fullback selections, but I have a feeling Timber's going to start. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if Timber and Hincapie are both going to start at fullback, or if you think alternatives are going to be in those positions. But those are my two. I'm gambling on it, and I'm thinking those two will start just based on the magnitude of the game and the importance of the game, and the need for defensive solidity. That's been our foundation all season long. It was our foundation against our last Premier League match against Everton. So I do stand by thinking that those two will be back in. In midfield, Zubimendi and Declan Rice goes without saying, our two starting midfielders. If we're going into war, if we're going into a final tomorrow, which this is one of our remaining cup finals, as the old cliche goes, you start your best team and best midfield players. Those have been the tried and trusted in midfield all season, and so Declan Rice and Zubimendi start in midfield. Now, in the attacking midfield position, I think he's going to start with the guy Kai Havertz. To be honest with you. I think simply put, again, Odegaard is, there's questions around his fitness at the moment, and not just his fitness, for me, his form, which doesn't warrant a starting place in the team, but that's a story for another day. And with Eze just coming back into the fold, again, we're going to need Eze from now till the end of the season. So I think you got to manage him correctly. And with the muscular injury that he had, does he come right back into the start? After being out for what, nearly a month or almost a month, a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I don't know if Eze comes right in from the start. I think Kai Havertz will start, and Eze will be on the bench, which will be it could be a useful option for us depending on the game state. So I think Kai Havertz starts in that sort of attacking midfield position behind the striker. And speaking of striker, the starting number nine is going to be Victor Gyökeres. Let's be honest. Has played a lot of football recently, so I'm hoping we manage him correctly as well. But played 290s um, for Sweden, I believe. Did come off the bench against Southampton, so didn't start there, but then started and played a full 90 in Portugal against his old club Sporting. So hopefully he can come in and be good to start and stay fit for the run-in. And yeah, I think he'll be starting tomorrow. I'm almost certain of it. Um, he's been in decent goal scoring form, and we're going to need his goals for this run-in, and we're going to need him to contribute in the goals department for sure. And we've seen, Gyökeres and Havertz work well together in tandem. We saw it again in midweek, right? We've seen, the goal that Kai Havertz scored against Sporting. You know, don't sleep on Gyökeres' contribution. His ability to just, pull defenders away by running into that open space opens up that space for Kai Havertz. So again, the fact that we'll see somebody like Kai Havertz play closer to Gyökeres, whereas the likes of Odegaard it doesn't seem to play close to Gyökeres or link up well with him. Kai Havertz has been, I think his three assists since returning from injury, and all three of Kai Havertz assists were for the likes of Victor Gyökeres. So that's good. That's good. That's convincing for us. That gives us something to work with and work off of. We didn't see it work well in the cup final against Man City, but again, that is Man City. This is a different game here. This is different personnel here. And so I think the fact that you have Gyökeres and Havertz link up again, I think will give them something to think about and keep Bournemouth honest and keep them on the back foot. Um, Again, I do trust and believe in that partnership because it does cause problems. Again, you have someone like Havertz playing closer to Gyökeres. If Gyökeres, pulls defenders out of position by moving into a certain space, Kai Havertz can run into that space. And again, I think Kai Havertz does look forward and look for Gyökeres early when he does get on the ball. So that is a good partnership that I like. And we are at home, and the initiative is for us to go out and be assertive, be positive, be aggressive. So I am fine with that. Kai Havertz in this sort of number 10, Gyökeres up top. And yeah, let's see how that works out for us. So let's see if that's what he goes with. On the wings, I'm gonna say this outright. Madueke, I think, starts on the right, and I think Saka starts on the left. Um, Now there's a question because Trossard is so bang out of form. There is a question to say, does Martinelli start on the left and then Madueke on the right with the Yokkers up top? That front three we've never really seen work particularly well, to be honest with you. They're all off-ball players. They're not ball dominant players in terms of high, touches and keeping control and keeping possession and keeping things ticking and keeping things tidy as the manager likes, right? When we talk about a controlled style standpoint. They're all off-ball runners. They're all, chaotic sort of attacking players, especially the likes of Martinelli and Madueke, who you just, you run at your fullback, run at the defender constantly, or try and take guys on with the risk of potentially losing the ball. Maybe so not always the most secure on the ball, right? Compared to the likes of Saka and Trossard. There's a clear pattern when you play with Saka and Trossard that play, with a Gyökeres in most of our season where we've played, like I said, more controlled and um, measured, style of football. Saka and Trossard have been our starting wingers a lot, especially in the Premier League, right? So the way we've been playing speaks to those sort of players, the Trossards and Saka, who are, tidy possession for the most part, and we'll keep the ball. Again, we keep control, we keep that tidy possession. Um, he likes that security on the ball, and players who are ball dominant and secure that way does Mikel Arteta, and that's why I think we've opted for Saka and Trossard, who have suited that sort of system. Um, but again, with the Madueke and Martinelli combination, that's a little bit, like I said, more chaotic off-ball runners. Again, you risk losing the ball that way when you're direct. And again, they're not the best, quality wise anyways. Let's be completely honest about it, right? We're not talking about, you know, guys like Lamine Yamal, for example, who, when he runs at a fullback, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna keep it still or he's gonna beat his man. We're talking about guys like Madueke and Martinelli who tend to give away possession. A lot of the times, either running the ball out of bounds or running into blind alleys and running into defenders. You never know what you're going to get with them end product wise. So it's a little bit of the unknown chaotic factor. So I think Arteta does trust the wing pairing of Saka and Trossard more for our, controlled purposes, controlled game style purposes. Again, Saka is not fully fit to start, I don't think. I'm going to go bold and say I think Saka will be on the bench. Therefore, I think Madueke will start. Max Dowman could start, but again, I think Arteta's going to manage him correctly. He's a young lad. The last Premier League game, he came off the bench, Max Dowman, and made a difference, and I think he could look to do the same in this game. So he'll go with the more senior figure of a Madueke on the right. And I think, that's fine, rightfully so. And because you're gonna have Gyökeres up top, Madueke on the right, again, to have a little bit more of a ball dominant player to keep possession and keep control, keep close control of the ball, I think we're gonna start with a Trossard on the left. It's just a case of styles make fights, right? Again, Trossard has not been in the best of forms, but for the sake of the style and for the system to maintain some level of familiarity, I think we're gonna start with Trossard on that left wing. So Trossard on the left, Madueke on the right, Gyökeres up top. That's what we're gonna go with, I think. And I think we're gonna have a strong bench, which is gonna be, I think, crucial in this game. I think that might make all the difference. With what I mentioned, I think we'll have an Essay on the bench, a Saka on the bench, a Max Dowman. Who knows where Odegaard is at? I don't think he'll even be in the squad, to be honest with you, which is a concern from a personal standpoint for him. But yeah, I think we should have just enough regardless to get the job done. So let me run through that quickly. Again, 1 to 11. David Raya in goal, Saliba Gabriel center back. Timber and Hincapié fullbacks. I think they will be back in for this one. Um, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and a Kai Havertz midfield. Again, with Kai Havertz playing close to the striker, and your front three, Gyökeres down the middle, Madueke on the right, and Trossard on the left. So, listen, Bournemouth has been in decent form. And I said decent form. They haven't lost since January of this year. Apparently, the longest unbeaten run in the Premier League since the turn of the year. However, they have drawn, I believe, their last five. So, I mean, come on, um, that's a team that's just somewhere down the middle. You don't know what you're going to get necessarily from them. They're not the best in terms of winning record, but they haven't lost again, like I said, since January, which is impressive. So, either way, we're at home. We're at the Emirates, early kickoff. Squad players returning good depth. We have the overall better quality. It's just about the mentality. It's about, do we want it more? Can we handle the pressure that's on the line? And I think we will do. So I hope we go out and we can get the 3 points in this one. It's going to be massive, massive boost for us, especially with City and Chelsea playing each other on the Sunday. So come on, you Gunners. Let's get the job done. I'm absolutely buzzing for this game. I can't wait. And yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the starting 11 and if you think that's correct, if you think there's going to be any changes, get in the comments and let us know. Please continue to, like I said, like and hype the video. It really does help us and subscribe to the channel as that is a massive boost for us as well. And we will continue to put out the content for you. So this has been CJ from the Gunners Corner with another pre-match preview and predicted 11. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Until the next one, folks, we're out of here. Take care. Love.